Welcome to the Experimental Aircraft Channel podcast and video podcast series, where we talk with our guests about experimental, light sport, and ultralight aviation. We are just getting started with this, so if the audio isn't 100% just yet, bear with us. Perfection is coming. Let's jump right into the interview.
Okay, everyone.
Right.
So I want to do something obviously a little bit different since we are kind of on lockdown in certain states and we either shouldn't be traveling or can't be traveling. And also this year, unfortunately, if you haven't heard already, Sun Fun has been officially canceled. So that's one less venue, one less aviation event that we can go to and hang out with all of our aviation friends here. So I want to reach out to several different people in the aviation world and make a connection and share that with you so you know what's going on in their end of the spectrum here. So today we're here with Sebastien Heintz of Zenith Aircraft and want to just discuss a few things with him to see how things are going on in his world. So welcome, Sebastien.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I'm certainly happy to be here and certainly happy to share with all of you shut-ins and, around the country, around the world, about what Zenith Aircraft, what we're doing during this time.
Excellent. I appreciate your time being available. So I know it's on everybody's mind right now about, how this virus is going to affect not only the economy, but, for us in aviation. And let's talk about that in just a minute, because that's going to be, a hot topic for us. But first, let's just talk about Zenith for a minute and what's new for 2020. What changes have happened, what's new, or just what's going on for 2020.
Well, we've had a few good years. The economy prior to this pandemic, the economy was doing really quite well, and so we've been very optimistic about the current way things are going, and going into 2020, we're quite excited and optimistic about the year. Of course, now everybody's guess is up. It's all up in the air right now in terms of how it will affect long-term the economy and so forth, but everything I've seen, we continue to stay optimistic about things. Zenith specifically, in terms of new models, new designs, we were looking at 2020 as being more of a year of continually improving what we do and how we do it, rather than coming up with a brand new design and kind of disrupting, people's planning, if you will. But more continuing to perfect what we're doing. We continue to do a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of making our kits easier and quicker to build. And that's really been the focus of a lot of what we've been doing, as well as increasing our outreach to customers and builders and flyers. Of course, right now that's difficult to do, or definitely refocusing it how we do it, doing it online and virtually, so to speak. But that's, in a nutshell, though, that's really what we've been working on for 2020.
Okay. And just as a review, you think by now the world knows that Zenith exists, but maybe there's some new people. We actually hope there's new people in this community, right, that have never heard of aviation and just getting started with this. So just really quickly run through the different line and models that you do offer currently.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I love talking about Zenith. Obviously, I'm a big fan. Zenith Aircraft Company, we were formed in 1992, going on, 28 years ago, I guess now. And it's kind of creepy looking out in my factory, because right now the production is kind of at a standstill on the production side because of the coronavirus stuff. And in the last 28 years, this is the first time where I can look out and see that, the factory is kind of at a standstill. When I look in the shipping department and the offices, we continue to stay busy there, but the actual production is kind of at a standstill. But anyway, we've been manufacturing for 28 years, aircraft kits. And I know by the LSA registration standard, we are the number one light sport aircraft builder in this, or light sport aircraft brand, I think it goes by, in the entire country. So that, we're pretty proud of that. And we're a big kit aircraft manufacturer. We ship out about one kit a working day typically. So that's again, that's a lot of airplanes that we typically produce from here. And again, we are a kit manufacturer. Zenith Aircraft is not an aircraft manufacturer. We manufacture the parts and the pieces for the do-it-yourself market to actually put these airplanes together. And I think, Brian, you're one of our customers, aren't you? You're building one of a Zenith.
Yeah, I was one of the early adopters for your cruiser. I think one of the first people to get a set of plans because I really like to get in there, work with my hands, and work with metal. So yeah, I think it was 2014. I think the plan said.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So again, we're very thankful for the thousands of builders, like yourself around the country that are actively building their Zenith airplanes. And my dad, Chris Heintz, founded, or is a designer and really the brains behind the operation, has designed all of our aircraft, starting with the low-wing CH-200 aircraft, which later evolved into the CH-601, now the CH-650 series low-wing airplanes, as well as then the CH-7 series airplanes, the 701, which came out in 1986. It's a high-wing, short takeoff and landing design. Very unique features about it: fixed leading edge slats, and a lot of features to make it excel at short takeoff and landing performance, yet still being easy to build and easy to fly. Tricycle gear configuration, and some unique characteristics like that. And the 701 has evolved into the CH-750 series, which is a little bit larger. The cruiser is the non-STOL version of that. Then we also have our new CH-750 Super Duty, which is a heavier non-LSA model with a larger engine, and we've added a rear jump seat in the aircraft. And so currently we produce basically 4 different models five if you incorporate the low wing, of course, to it, but 4 different models of the high wing, and then our low wing series as well. So kind of a good range of aircraft for the typical recreational pilot, meaning not high time pilot, somebody that just likes to go fly primarily for recreation purposes, not fast or not too fast for high speed transportation, but more again the type of airplane that you would fly on the weekends and the occasional cross country trip. And that's really our market that we focus on. And on the builder side, again, the first time builder, we've managed to really grow and increase our market by making our kits easier to build and quicker and requiring fewer skills and again less time. So it's just something that the typical person can go out and learn and build their own airplane.
Sure, and that's one of the things that attracted me, 5-6 years ago now, is that you guys do offer so many different options depending on either your skill level, time level, commitment, and so forth. So back then, I want to just dive into the scratch building because I like working with metal, and you offer plans. And then moving through that, we moved 4 times in 5 years, and it's like, all right, well, I want to turn up the dial on getting this project going. So you know what, I'm going to skip this next component and just buy the kit directly from you. So a good mix and match options going through the build is available, and that's something that was very appealing to me as well. And talking about go ahead.
No, and that's really a good point you touch on, and I think you're quite typical. Again, your needs and because your situation changes over time. At the beginning, you might have had more time than money, and then as you go through, 5 years later or whatever it may be, your needs may change, and you may have a bit more money than time, and that's where again having the availability then of a kit or quick build kit versus scratch building. And again, that's what we're about in terms of the product. We really don't. We're not out there to sell you one thing. It's we'll work with you to try to get you, whatever you need, whether it's building from plans and supporting you as a scratch builder or anywhere in between up to a quick build. And again, when we realize over time your needs change, just like again the right now with this coronavirus situation going on, we have builders that have time on their hands, and that's why we want to be there to be able to support them through this. Is that if they have time and they want to work on stuff, we want to be able to get them parts and or else rivets or anything else to be able to continue to build whatever the situation may be.
Sure. And going back to the kit and how it's manufactured for a moment, I understand you guys are now using this match hold technology. If you could explain just in short what that is, and then which models have or do not have that, or what plans for the future of expanding to all of your models for that.
Right, and that's a good question. Match hole technology continues to evolve and get better. It's not just matched hole anymore; it's final hole size match hole, which is if you're a builder, and will appreciate that, because when you do pilot match holes, it's definitely a nice thing because you can just cleco everything together. But when it's pilot hole size, you have to still re-drill it and then take it apart, deburr it, and then put it back together again. When it's
Sure.
final hole size match drilled, you can cleco it together and pretty much rivet it. So you're really it's really a leap forward in build times and in how easy these assemblies are to put together. And we use CNC high-speed routers to manufacture those parts. Basically, we design and develop everything in a 3D model. And then we flatten the parts out, send it to the CNC machine, which not only cuts out the parts, but then completely pre-drills the parts. And then we form the parts, have the skins pre-drilled, pre-cut, and so forth. And then the nice thing is you take those parts, you line them up, cleco them together, and rivet them. And I'll try to make sure to include some video footage to share with you about how we do that. But it really is that simple. And the nice thing is on a number of levels. Number one, the skills that are required to do that. Of course, it's just easier. But more importantly, the time has gone down dramatically. And it's really nice for a project like that because there's a lot of built-in motivation, because you cannot spend 2 hours with this type of construction and not have something to show for it, because
Right.
you will have something to show for it. And sometimes I know when you're working on the older style kits, you can easily spend a day or two, and even though you are making progress visually, it's not quite as apparent. So when your wife is looking in the shop 2 days later, she kind of sees the same thing. And versus with matched
What are you
holes
doing in there? Are you
exactly.
just trying to stay away from me? Or are you actually getting something done in that shop, huh?
Exactly. So sometimes there's just that built-in motivation. It's easier to take a picture at the end of the day because that picture will show something differently. So again,
Well,
that's
I'm gonna promote take video. Say it with video, okay?
well, absolutely. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's the nice thing about high-speed internet and everybody with the smartphone and so forth is the videos have become the JPEGs of 10 years ago. It's
Sure.
so easy and to share video, to take video, and to share that. So going on your original point, so we do the final hole size match drilled. Our newest models always feature our newest technology, because when we come up with a new model, we really develop it around the technology. And as a kit manufacturer, again, we're one of the few companies that really designs and supports all of our designs as scratch builders for plans only. But at the same time, as a manufacturer, we also design based on our manufacturing technology, which is why now that we do have these great high-speed CNC routers available, we design for that, so that again we can develop a kit to really optimize that technology. So again, our newer models, the CH750 Super Duty is the model with the most final hole sized drilling. Pretty much though, all the CH750 series, the Stoll, the Cruiser, as well as the new Super Duty, have basically the same fuselage sections and so forth. So very quickly we are bringing that final hole size match drill to the other CH750 models, as well as we are working currently on the CH650, the low wing, to increase the number of match hold final hole size match hold parts, and then the 701, our earlier model, which continues to be very successful. But and that slowly we continue also to update the kits on that.
Okay. So at the moment, though, the 701 remains more like a traditional style. I think you've got the skins that are pre-drilled,
Right.
but not what's behind it. And then the 650
and that one's primarily match drilled, but it's mostly a pilot hole size. So
Okay.
Somewhere in between. And it's funny how, when I look back on the last 10, 15 years, how, 15 years ago, I considered our kits, whether it was the 650 or the 701 kits, to be really quite advanced by today's standards. So, however, they're a little bit more retro in the sense that, like you say, they're more traditional, or requires a little bit more time. Now, still the advantage for the builder today, though, is that the older kits, like the 701 and the 650 currently, you still, the lower prices still benefits you, though, because we're not spending as much CNC time on these parts, so we can still sell those parts at a lower price. So you're benefiting. It might take a little bit longer, but it's still easy stuff to do.
Cost time benefit, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And when the economy is really strong, obviously people have more money than time. When the economy slows down, it's the other way around. So there's basically something for everybody, I think, in that mix.
Excellent. Well, real quick, I do get this question quite frequently, so I want to go ahead and ask you this. People are inquiring about, you acquired SAM aircraft a couple years ago and haven't seen much. Is that something in the future that's going to happen, or is it just what's going on with that?
Well, and that's a good question, and I hate to admit it, sometimes we ask ourselves that question so, sometimes as well. But the very premise of why we acquired SAM aircraft hasn't changed at all today. Hasn't changed at all. We bought that aircraft for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was entirely designed within SolidWorks. And so, which is what we're doing now. And those of you that work with SolidWorks all the time appreciate why that's important. And those of you on the outside, maybe not quite as much. But again, by designing in SolidWorks, it really gives you the ability to go from the computer model to manufacturing. It really, in one step, it takes out the 2 or 3 prototype steps that we would typically do previous to that. So it's an aircraft that, even though you're not seeing very much progress in terms of what's happening with it, but we continue to do work on the solid model and can do that. And when we bought the original design and prototype, it was an LSA aircraft, tricycle gear with the Rotax engine, and quite frankly, it was a little bit overweight to be a good LSA. Like a lot, I hate to say it, but a lot of LSAs are a little bit overweight. As the LSA rule continues to evolve and change, there's a lot of talk about increasing the weight and so forth. It may be an LSA again, and a lightweight LSA by the new definition. But we switched it over to the Lycoming 0360 engine, away from the Rotax engine. Not that we don't love the Rotax, but also the Lycoming we just thought was a better suited for the size and weight of that airplane, just a better suited engine for that.
Well, also the style of aircraft, right? That's kind of like a fighter looking plane. So you want something that has a certain sound to it as well, right?
And absolutely. And you get, like you say, the style of aircraft, it just begs to be a sport aerobatic category type airplane. And that's a thing with the light sport category. It was very lightweight. A lot of emphasis was trying to keep it light, even though it was relatively heavy for the category. It was still a lot of emphasis was on keeping it light, which also limited some of the spar structures for aerobatic capability. And we said, let's put it, let's forget about light sport for now and make it where we can do a loop and a roll with that airplane for the sport pilot, or not sport pilot category, but for the recreational pilot that wants to loop and roll an airplane. And then we did something also a little bit odd, a little bit uncharacteristic of Zenith, is we actually took a tricycle gear airplane and shifted it over to a tail dragger. And again, back to the style of airplane that it is. I think that it's a kind of a retro style. I like to call it a modern retro design, in the sense it has a lot of the retro look and feel for it, yet we can develop it into a modern kit, modern engine, modern avionics, and a modern kit to assemble.
So will that be rolling out anytime soon, or is that still kind of in market research stage?
I think we've kind of completed our market research standpoint, which has shown us that there's definitely a market for it. We're a kit manufacturer that, again, we know the business well, and we've been in it for long enough, and we're mature enough that we don't need to come out with a prototype and take deposits to fund our production or anything like that. So we've never accepted any deposits on it, which puts us in a good position in the sense that there's no pressure to rush it to market.
Okay.
And for us, we've been really quite busy the last several years, and so a new project like that always takes a back seat to our existing project.
Understandable. You guys are on fire with what you have already, so to be able to stop, and you're not a small company, but as companies go, you are a small business. So.
Right, absolutely, and that's the thing. We are like you say, we are a small business. We don't have a lot of different departments that we can allocate these new projects to. So if we're working on the SAM project, that means we're not working on this project or that project, and so it is a question of priority. The nice thing about having kind of a retro design is it doesn't really go out of style. So which is why when we introduce it, whether it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now, it's still gonna, I think, always have a market for what we introduce.
Okay, well, thanks for the update on that, because I've got several inquiries about that, because they think it's a
Sure.
beautiful design and it has that military-ish look to it and that kind of stuff, right? It's very classic.
Right.
So, and kind of in closing here, being that we are in this uncertain times and it seems like it changes, if not weekly, but daily, on how long we're going to be on lockdown, that kind of stuff. So there's no way of even trying to predict what the future is. But what are you guys doing, or what is the short term, long term, if we do remain kind of a lockdown? Obviously, you said the production is kind of shut down, but you still got a stockpile of parts you can ship out, and you're not like a skeleton crew. But moving forward, what can people do to stay in the game, even if they're a little bit concerned about the economy and maybe not wanting to do a total investment? Can they buy components? How can they break it down to stay involved and engaged?
We're committed to helping our customers, whether they're existing customers as well as new people, to get involved. Again, home building your airplane, basically building an airplane at home, in the garage, in the basement, or even at the airport at your hangar. It's a great social distancing or isolation project. So I encourage builders to stay involved, which is why if you currently have a kit or a set of drawings, work on it, and we are here to answer the phone. We are here to ship parts. We have because we're a kit manufacturer, we always have a lot of stuff in stock. Our shelves are always full of parts. So even though, again, our actual kit shipments may slow down a little bit right now, but if you need a part or a sub-assembly, you need a wing kit, something like that, we will work hard to get it to you. Of course, we're dependent on the shipping companies to get it from our door at Zenith to your door. But right now, as best I can tell, the whole shipping infrastructure in this country is still proceeding fairly well. So I encourage you to keep on building. One thing we did, we had a workshop scheduled for the 23rd and 24th of April of later this month, and obviously because of everything's going on with the travel restrictions and so forth and all the social distancing, we've had to cancel the workshop. But rather than just put a canceled date, what we've done is we've turned it into an online virtual workshop. So rather than having our customers or participants come to the Zenith factory and build the rudder kit here, which is just, like a starter kit, is we're shipping it to customers around the country, and then using Zoom, or we're not exactly sure what platform we're going to use, whether it's Zoom or a YouTube Live or some platform like that. We're going to be basically all together. We're going to be building the workshop, kind of same as we do in the shop, but we're going to be doing it spread out around the country. And we already have folks signed up from pretty much all four corners of the country already. So it'll be a neat thing. I'm actually looking forward to it, even though it's a kind of a letdown that we're not able to do it here like originally scheduled. Rather than get that, where we just cancel it, we're just instead just going to reformat and continue to build that way. And so that again, folks that want to stay active. If you're looking for something to do, I encourage you to again look at kits. Is a good time to get started. And for us as Zenith, we want to encourage and take full advantage of being able to support you guys while we still can.
Excellent. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I had started on Facebook my own group, Experimental Aircraft Channel group, and the whole Say It with video is to keep people connected during their shop building, because sometimes it can get a little bit lonely. It's like one of those things where you have to hyper focus, concentrate, because it's a very, very detailed project of reading the plans, making sure you have the right part and you're doing the right steps. So that can be kind of isolating in itself. But at the same time, it's nice and encouraging to have other people doing the same thing you're doing and sharing that. So that's why I created the group. So I'm very excited also to see your live rudder workshop, to kind of see that video version as well. And like you said, what you got for options right now is a great time. Even if we're concerned about the economy, maybe you've been sitting on the idea of ordering a set of plans. Well, you sell plans. That's the starter level, right? You can order a set of plans. That's not a huge investment. Next step after that is to order a rudder kit and try your hand at metalworking. If you like that, then progress on to a fuselage or a wing, or you can start very incrementally at this point.
Absolutely. And we want to try to make it easy. And again, we've always done that, but again, in this time, it maybe makes even more sense to do it exactly that way.
Okay. All right. To kind of close down here, because I want to try to keep this fairly short for YouTube, but what are the several different ways? I know you've got your different websites. You have your website, and you have Aero, I think, for a builders group, and then what are all the different, where are you online?
Well, the easiest way is just start zenithair.com, Zenithair, and from there you can pretty much steer in all the different directions. But we have zenith.aero, which is a portal, if you will, for active Zenith builders and owners, primarily to share pictures, discussion groups, and so forth about that. We also we have a pretty active Facebook page. We try to post something pretty much every day about what's going on at the Zenith factory, sharing a lot of the successes from our customers as well, new completions and so forth, sharing events. Again, we have our online workshop scheduled for April 23rd. And so if you go on, you can basically order the rudder kit. We'll have it to you probably within the next 5 to 10 days, which gives you plenty of time still to be ready for that workshop. And so if you're looking for something to do, and again, we'll send you plenty of reading material ahead of time to get ready for the workshop. And then again, kind of, I see like in the backdrop of your picture right now, you've got a nice work table in the background there, Brian. It's kind of the same setup like that, that's pretty much all you need is a workbench table area, and build the rudder and do it together with a number of other people. And again, I think it's just a very positive and good way to stay active and to get started on a project that hopefully will turn into a full flying airplane.
That is the end game. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I appreciate all you've done over the years, your whole entire family in aviation, and being so supportive in many levels. I mean, obviously you're in business, but you're in this because you're passionate about it. It's not just about a paycheck, right? So I appreciate everything you've done for that. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day today to talk about what's going on personally with Zenith, and we'll share this to the world.
All right, Brian, and thank you for all you do. You're a great promoter of aviation, and again, the love we have of building and flying airplanes. So we do appreciate all the work you do as well. So thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for joining us here on the Experimental Aircraft channel for the video podcast and/or podcast. These episodes will be available on YouTube, as well as all the popular podcast platforms. Thanks for watching or listening. We'll catch you next time.